So Bonnie and Pam and I met Charity last year. We were in a cohort of women, Foursquare leaders and pastors in the state of Oregon. And I had the profound honor of getting to know Charity. And then John and Charity invited our family to their home for dinner, and they are amazing. I'm so excited, and I was saying in our pre-service prayer time, I just see God's anointing on them, that they release the kingdom everywhere they go in unique ways that people aren't anticipating. So that's all I'm going to say there. I'm going to ask them to share. And then we're going to pray over them, but then Richard had the brilliant idea that we're going to ask them to pray over us as well. So again, would you just welcome them for me?
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here today. As Pastor Nicole said, I'm Charity, and our kids, Caleb and Maggie. And it's such an honor because I have been meeting with Nicole for over a year now. And so to finally come and be able to meet everybody here is really so special for me. And just to get to know her is something wonderful. And she really, I feel just a connection to her, as I'm sure many of you do. And so thank you so much, and we are blessed. We are so excited to share with you about our journey that God has put us on. And God has called our family to missions. From the time I was 5, God has called me to missions, and to walk that out, and to see the plans God has for me being fulfilled. And I know God has plans for every person in here, and we're all on a journey with God. And before I begin, I just wanted to share something I felt God speak to me when we were praying yesterday for you guys. When we were praying, I just got a picture of a puzzle, like a 1,000-piece puzzle or something that you would buy from the store. And when you're putting it together, you're so excited with anticipation to see the final picture because of how much work is put into putting it together. But then there's a piece missing in the puzzle when you get to the end, and you're feeling like, what? Oh man, this puzzle's not any good. How can I have this puzzle with a piece missing? It just looks wrong. And I just feel God saying, we are the pieces, and we all have a job in the kingdom of God. And when we all do what we are called to do, it creates a beautiful puzzle. And so we just want to encourage you to act on that, what God is calling you to do in His kingdom. Because without you, the puzzle's not complete. We are all important, and God is the one putting us where we need to be. And so that's my encouragement for you guys, is what is God calling you to do? Now, I wanted to just share a little bit about myself and my walk into missions. God, as I said, when I was 5 years old, God spoke to me I was going to be a missionary. And from that point on, my everything was just focused towards missions. Every time a missionary would come to our church, I was running to meet them afterwards because I wanted to know more. And when I was about 12, God spoke to me about Africa for the first time. I didn't even know what Africa was or never heard of it until I was 12 years old. And from that point on, I just started searching and wanting to find more about missions until I came to a place where I learned about an organization called Youth with a Mission. And when I learned about that place, I just knew that's where God had me. And so I joined YWAM here in Salem in 2008. And from that point on, I said, there's no turning back. And so God just led me into that open door. And my first trip to Africa was in 2010. And I got to meet my husband when I was taking a team to Egypt and South Sudan in 2012. And I just wanted to say, when I was in in 2013, I was in South Sudan. We were serving in the YWAM base there, and we were doing outreach to the community around us, and it was like a village. So there wasn't a whole lot there, and it was kind of far from the town. And I got sick with malaria and typhoid. And at that point, I was so sick I could hardly walk or anything. And they had to drive me to the nearest little clinic where they had some beds for people to stay in. And I'm laying in this bed feeling so frustrated. God, why am I here right now? I don't want to be here. I want to be out there sharing the gospel. And I just kept praying as I'm laying in this bed. I couldn't move because my body was so weak. And before I knew it, a woman, like 3 men, were bringing in a woman to a bed that was right across from me, because it was a one-room clinic where all the beds were in one room together. And this woman was fighting against these men, and she did not want to be in that bed. And the doctor is looking like he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to help her, because she wasn't physically sick. It was spiritual. And right then I knew those people had carried her for hours from their village to get to the hospital, thinking the doctor could help her. And I knew right then that this is why God had me in this place at this moment. And my husband went and prayed for her, and she was delivered and set free. And so, just by saying yes to God when I was 5 years old, I got to see an opportunity like that where somebody came to know Christ. And that has been the journey of our missions from day one, seeing God use us in ways we never thought possible. And it's amazing when we say, okay, God, I will do what you have called me to, even if it looks like the harder road, which usually it is the harder road that he calls us on. But it's so worth it, because that's where the testimonies come of that hardship, because you overcome it and you push through it because of God's strength. And so in 2013, God called us to come out of South Sudan into Uganda when fighting began in South Sudan. And along with us, many thousands of refugees also fled from South Sudan. And so it was my first time to see and experience what refugees were walking through. And when I was in Uganda, we started going and visiting the refugee camp there, and to see such great need, to see people living under tarps, not even a tent. They were living under tarps at that time with just sticks holding it up. And to keep going back since that time, revisiting that place, revisiting the people, and to see them so isolated, because this camp is thousands of people, and it's far from town, it's far from anything else. To see them so isolated and in so much need. Some of them don't have shoes, or they only have one pair of clothes that they have to go and wash, and then they have to wait till they dry before they can put them back on. And just see such a great need in those camps. God just broke my heart and broke our heart as a family for refugees. And so we continued going back and helping where we can, and praying and trying to encourage people. And so that's where our heart for refugee first began. And then when we were first married in Uganda, God called me to America for a season where I can work on my husband's visa, because visas are a long process. And so I came here working, and God, he opened the door for John to come after about 2 years of working on his visa. And when he came, we felt like, let's jump right into YWAM. We don't want to, we're not called to anything else but missions. How can we get involved here in the U.S.? And so because I had been here in Salem before, we came back again to Salem. And we're just feeling, God, our heart is for refugees. How do we do this? We're so far from where we feel we're supposed to be. And when we came to Salem, we found that there's refugees right here. They had just started arriving right before we came. And so to see God working our heart's desire and our calling that we felt on our heart, how he met us in that moment was so incredible. And so now we get to work with refugees. Yeah, you can just, so this is our YWAM community in Salem during, I think, a staff meeting that we have. And yeah, go ahead and share.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, wow. For me, it's good. I'm so blessed to stand here this morning and to share with you guys in this wonderful worship time. Uh, for me, I believe in prayer and prophetic word. That's how God He will speak to us and to send us out there for mission. Thank you, Pastor Nicole, and the team in the church to bring us this morning to share with you. My name is John, and God blessed me with this wonderful, beautiful woman of God. He is a blessing to me and to my family. I just want to share with you about me and people to know, because actually we will not. We have our, you know, I want to say know God and make Him know. And if you want to know God, you need to have a relationship with God, because you cannot say like, oh, I know Pastor Nicole, but I'm not close to her. If I get close to her, I will know her more, you know? It's like God. If I want to know God, I want to be close to God. I want to hear His voice. I want to hear His will in my life. It's not my will. I just want to hear from Him. And that's what, when I'm going to talk to people about God, and I know God. And when I'm standing here today, I want to tell you that I want to share you the truth. There is power in prayer. There is power in prayer. Sometimes you will pray and you will not see right now, but spiritually something is happening somewhere. That is this. I believe in prayer. I believe in prayer. That's why, and sometimes if you have challenging, you have something you're going through, and somebody tell you, let me pray with you, let him pray with you, and don't believe like sometimes it will not happen right now. Sometimes you will not receive today, but something will happen in one day. And that's why sometimes we forget to give thanks to God, because we are not realize how God is provided to us. That is what I believe in prayer. Let me share my testimony to you today. I'm a refugee, grow up as a refugee boy until a refugee man. I'm growing up, doesn't have home. You know, somebody refugee, you don't have home to stay. Somebody force you from your place. I grow up in the country is going a lot of war, Sudan. I grow up in the country is ruling by Islamic system. That's where I came from. Ruling by Sharia law. I don't know if you know Sharia law. We are ruling under Sharia law. If you are Christian, you don't have any voice. If you are Christian, you are not accepted to go to any college. If you want to go to the college, you need to become Muslim. That's the country where I grow up in. Sometimes people outside here, they don't see how God is good. They don't realize the goodness of the God. I grow up as a refugee. I grow up sometimes I don't have my dad with me. I don't have my family with me. I don't have anybody with me. Right now, today, I'm talking to you. I miss some of my family. They're divided to some countries. I'm not talking to them. I don't have even some time. I remember since I came to the United States, my sister just called me last year. Even I didn't realize in my phone, I just hold the phone. I say, this is you, Julia, my sister? Because I didn't hear from her. I don't know where is she. I don't know which direction she's gone. Somebody separate you as a refugee. You know, when you know the pain of what refugee is going through. Sometimes people they will say, oh, they are refugee, because if you are not in that pain, you will not realize how in their shoes, you know. When you put yourself in the shoes, you will know exactly what is the refugee is. I grow up as a refugee man, but with all this, I see the goodness of God in my life. I see protection of God in my life. I lost my mom because the bomb fell in our house. It's very long testimony. I see how my mom, she is crawling and coughing, and the smoke is everywhere. And she's keep coughing, and she's pulling. See how the mom, he will sacrifice for his children. He's go inside to bring out my younger brother because the house is smoking. I just see her going inside there to pull my brothers, to pull my sister outside their home. Because he's the mother, he sacrificed her life for my brothers. And bring them out and cover us. And she's coughing. And the smoke affect her lung. And she died. We lost her. And my dad is in prison because of the politics problem in the country. But with all this thing, I see the goodness of God in my life. I see the goodness of God through what we are going through. And then I'm right now, I'm 18 years with YWAM as a full-time missionary with the YWAM. And God chose me. I don't know, all this time, I didn't realize why. I didn't realize. But God have plan in my life. God planning in me. God chose me to be a missionary. And then today, he sent me back to work with the refugee. I say, what's going on? And then also, he brought for me women have heart for refugee. See? God's plan. And she brought for me a woman from different country. She live in America. What she want in Africa? What she want in Africa? She is in America. She have everything. That's how people there believe outside there, America, you have everything. You have car, you are driving, you are eating. Even if you are eating at least. If you didn't eat, somebody will ask you, why you don't want to eat? People they are asking. If today I went outside in the road, I say, I'm hungry, anybody will give me food to eat. But in Africa, somebody will say, I'm hungry, but there is no food. Man, give thanks to God for everything you have. Give thanks to God for everything you have. God have plan in my life. He brought for me this wonderful woman to go with me in Africa and to work with the refugee. And we don't have home in Africa. And we don't have everything in Africa. And we are planning to go back to Africa. If somebody look at me, he will say, John, you are crazy? What's wrong with you? But we are carrying something. Gospel of Jesus. The good news of the Lord. I will go back to Africa and to share the gospel with the people there. Most of people, some friends, they will send me a message. They will say, John, you are in America. What do you want back again here? I say, you don't know. The word I have is bigger from what you are thinking. I have Jesus with me, and I'm going back there to help my people, to share the gospel of Jesus with them, to bring the gospel of God there. That's where we are going back to Uganda, and God bless us. And last year, God just did miracles. And we are planning to go. Pastor Nicole visit us in the home, and we pray, and the lockdown came and everything, and we didn't expect it. And then just we prayed that, and we found that people bless us, and we went there, we say, oh, this is the beginning, let's buy land. We bought the land in Uganda. I didn't own land in all my life. Me and my wife, we don't have, but God blessed us with the land there. And then I asked, and then how we are gonna build the land? I said, God, no. I don't care. He told us to have the land. I'm sure he's going to provide for that. It's not my own. He's God. We are working with the Lord. Me and my family, we choose to serve the Lord as a full-time missionaries. I want to share with you this morning something from Bible here as the book of Luke. I speak Arabic. Actually, let me tell you something. All my school is with Arabic language. I'm speaking Arabic language. I learned English in Y1. I never be in English class. So I'm trying. Yeah. Luke chapter 18. Luke chapter 18. And then if you see from the verse 35 to 38. It's talk about the blind beggar receive his sight. You see? The blind beggars receive his sight. This man, he's sitting in the road. I'm sure people, he used to bring him every morning to sit there. And then later, those people get tired. He started just to stay in the road. One day, he hears something happen. And he's asking what's going on, because every day he stays in this road, there is no any noise like this. But he's surprised. What's happening? And they told him, Jesus, the Nazareth, is passing. And he cried, he shouted out, Jesus! Jesus, the Son of David, have mercy on me. And the people told him, no, you don't have to shout. You need to be quiet. But he kept shouting. He kept shouting. That shows me we don't need to stop. We need to keep shouting. Sometimes people, they will shut you down. Sometimes a lot of things will happen to you. But keep shouting, Jesus. We need to keep shouting, Jesus. One thing I know, there is hope in everything. There is hope. There is hope in Jesus. Let's hold in Jesus, and there is hope in Jesus. Today, God blessed me with family, and God blessed me with 2 kids, and wonderful woman of God, my wife. And we have Jesus with us. And we are going back for mission. We are going back for mission. Yeah.
Yeah, so what we have coming up in January, my husband is going back to Uganda for about a month long. And as he said, we got some property there near the YWAM base and not too far from the refugee camp, where we feel God calling us to that area specifically, because for the first time, well, I mean, in the history of the world, there's been many wars and refugees, but in our time today, we have a great opportunity to reach people that are deep, that would normally be deep in the village. Maybe villages we've never heard about are coming to us. And that's true for here in Oregon as well. But in Uganda, we have so many people coming out of South Sudan that we have the opportunity to disciple them and for them to know who Christ is. And so we want to have discipleship opportunities for refugees, and we want to bring reconciliation among tribes. A lot of the fighting in South Sudan is tribal, where tribes think they're better than other tribes, and so they are fighting and killing each other. And we want to bring unity to them and bring healing and forgiveness to them. And so that is on our heart for our ministry land. And We want to see teams from America coming and also ministering, because when you're a refugee living in a refugee camp, everybody around you is thinking the same way you're thinking. You're in a position of survival. You don't know how to live in a place of abundance or live in what God has for you when you just feel you're surviving all the time. And so we want to have, as an outsider of their situation, to come in with a freshness and a peace and, everything that God gives you to help them through that pain. Because when you've experienced deep loss or deep hurt, and everyone else around you has experienced the same thing, how are you going to process that? Who's going to help you through that pain? You don't have anywhere to go for that. And so we want to be that place for them. And we want to be able to help them with counseling and with everything that we can do to help them be free in what God has for them. And so oftentimes refugees are a people that feel forgotten and just kind of pushed out of the city, out of sight, out of mind kind of attitude. But we don't want